Hello, and welcome to the Metabolic Classroom. I'm Dr. Ben Bikman, a biomedical scientist and professor of cell biology. Today, we're exploring the intricate metabolic regulation of autophagy. We'll delve into what autophagy is, its significance in health, why you should care at all about it, how hormones influence it, as well as how various interventions can modulate autophagy, and in some instances, how this might be leveraged to extend lifespan, or why even explore autophagy in the context of longevity. That is, after all, what's really made longevity kind of famous. We'll also examine the crucial role of hormones, in particular the petite peptide insulin, in regulating autophagy and discuss the impact of diets that adjust insulin, like ketogenic and low carbohydrate diets, and even the direct effect of ketones on this cellular process. By the end of the lecture, my hope is that you'll have a pretty comprehensive, a good understanding of how autophagy works, what it is, and how you might be able to take advantage of it for some healthy longevity, with a healthy dose of appreciation that this is a very young, new, unclear field. Now, before I go any further, I want to remind you about the launch of my new site, benbikman.com. At that site, you can subscribe to become an insider at two levels, a basic insider or a pro insider. Each has some benefits that I know you're going to enjoy if you are interested in staying up to date on the latest science in the realm of metabolic health. To learn more, of course, please just go to benbikman.com. Now, as we get started, what is autophagy? Autophagy is derived from Greek for self-eating. This is a fundamental cellular process where cells will degrade, break down their own components, and use those building blocks to build up something else. This process is essential for a cell maintaining its normal homeostasis, so maintaining normal function. The cell uses autophagy to replace damaged organelles. That's its most famous role. Now you're thinking, well, what are organelles? That's a little bit of cell biology here. Organelles are basically all of the components of the cell. This includes things like the nucleus, the mitochondria, the peroxisomes, the ribosomes, all of these different characters within the cell. Over time, they get damaged or old, and autophagy allows them to be replaced. And there's one other component to this that I'll mention in a moment, but also such things as faulty proteins or misfolded proteins that need to get cleared out lest they start to cause damage, and a handful of other cellular debris and stuff that needs to be removed. Now, the essential organelle that I just alluded to a moment ago that's involved in this process is called the lysosome. The lysosome is often referred to as the cell's recycling center. It contains very specific and specialized enzymes that are capable of breaking down a wide variety of these molecules, including lipids, proteins, and various carbohydrates. And that's, of course, the stuff that these organelles are made of as well. Now, by degrading the damaged or unnecessary components within the cell, the lysosomes play a very important role in maintaining the health of the cell. And then, as I noted earlier, once the lysosome has engulfed this organelle and kind of targeted it for destruction or breakdown, it will then give back those building blocks to the rest of the cell. That's why I use the word recycled. So it gives those building blocks back to the cell to be used for the production of new molecules, or in some instances for creating energy, creating ATP from those molecules. Like, for example, the lysosome can pull in a cholesterol ester and break down the cholesterol into its sort of component parts, as well as releasing the fatty acid from it. And that fatty acid can go and be used for energy. Now, suffice it to say, all of this is simply to help the cell survive and work well. Now, so what? So autophagy is a fundamental principle in cell biology, but what about the broader context of physiology? How do the ideas of cell biology with autophagy fit within the context of the human body? In other words, why should you care at all about this? Well, some of it's becoming already clear. There are a handful of functions where autophagy plays an important part, like, for example, cellular quality control. By degrading and recycling the damaged parts of the cell, the organelles and proteins, autophagy is able to prevent the accumulation of these waste products that are taking up space that over time can impair the function of the cell and potentially lead to some diseases. And I'll get to some disease examples in just a moment. I also just a moment mentioned energy levels. And of course, during periods of any kind of scarcity, including fasting, of course, and then starvation in extreme instances, autophagy can provide these building blocks and the energy for the cell to continue to survive despite the relative deprivation.